Hello, my name is Drew Styling. Welcome to the 14th episode of Adventures in Job Searching. Today, from Atlanta, we have Regan Farley joining us. How are you today, Regan?
I'm well, Drew, and I think you're on a good luck charm, so I'm excited to talk to you today.
I get told that a lot. So, Regan, do you want to talk about your career path and what's had you on the job search over the last year or so? And yeah, maybe
Yeah,
just give us sort of an overview of what sort of work you do, what you love, and what job searching has meant to you recently.
yeah. So I run a small boutique agency. I'm actually a co-founder of a company called The Group. We are a boutique PR firm based here in Atlanta. We work with a lot of nonprofits, be it things like the NAACP, the Iowa College Fund, and we work with a wide variety of agencies from small business to nonprofits. What's kind of happening on the job search is I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. Business is kind of slowing down, and I'm just ready to take everything that I've learned and kind of use those skills and go back into the corporate world.
Yeah, and I mean, certain industries certainly lend themselves well to, being able to go back and forth between, working for a company and being an entrepreneur. I mean, I know when we had Candace Nicole on a couple of weeks ago, that was something she talked a lot about, trying to convince hiring managers why, it's a good idea to hire someone with an entrepreneurial background. There obviously, if you're a steel worker or something, you can't really start your own business and have your own steel factory. But for certain things like in the PR, marketing, communication space, it's virtually zero cost to start up. Very low cost. To do your own thing, but also there's the financial risk. The administrative headaches of having your own business versus the safety and security of working for someone else. So could you talk about, I know you worked for the NAACP for several years. Could you talk about that work? That really interested me given, how much important work that they've done over the last several decades.
Yeah, and I think one, I had to pivot, right? Because I got my start in entertainment. And then I said, well, entertainment, cool, but I kind of want to do some mission-driven work. And I bounced around from LA to New York, and then I moved back home to Baltimore, which is where I'm from. And the NAACP, contrary to popular belief, is actually based in Baltimore, Maryland. Not too many people know that. We're going Mount Hope Drive in Baltimore, Maryland. Their national office is actually in Baltimore. And that work actually is a bit of advocacy work, but then they also run an award show. And with that work, I got a chance to not only do things like with High Facebook, I got a chance to work with things like American Airlines, work with things like working with the NAACP Image Award. And that work was very mission driven. It was a chance to do a bit of advocacy. It was just a chance to do a wide variety of work. And then from there in 2019, I said, hey, I want to start my own thing. And I want to not just work with multicultural work, but I just want to do a mixed bag of work, if you will. And it was fun. It was mission driven. It just was amazing. I love and then George Floyd happened. So I just got a chance to do a lot of different things while I was at the NAACP. Not just advocacy, but also entertainment.
What was behind the desire to switch from purely an entertainment career towards something what you call more mission driven?
I got a chance to do both things, if you will. I got a chance to not only combine things like my time working at Fox, and like my time of working at the E Network, but I got a chance to do both, if you will. I got a chance to help my community, but then also I got a chance to um, do both sets of work. So helping with voting rights, helping with nonprofit work, and definitely that nature.
What was the key to getting your foot in the door? I mean, I think a lot of people kind of see their dream, and that's something I definitely want to talk about on the show, not just
Yeah.
how you currently feel in your job search, but what worked previously in the job search. So, what do you think, a lot of people have their dream organizations and they've tried for years to get in. That's such a prominent organization. What do you think were the keys to success to getting, a good job there?
So I'm going to actually wow you with this one, Drew. So
I am
leaving
not
New
easily
York.
impressed.
So leaving New
Continue.
York, I actually got my chance working at NAACP through a temp agency.
Hmm.
There was no real wow factor behind that, right? I moved back from LA, I moved back from New York. Like I said, my family's from Baltimore. They needed an extra person through this temp agency. Cornell Williams Brooks at the time was the national president of NAACP. And that was just a group, that was just a person who on their security team just gave me a shot. His name was Kevin. Kevin was their security person. They saw me, they saw my heart, they saw my hustle, they saw how I was strategic at the time of running social media, being that first person on call to kind of get that shot at the time, right? Being interested in, moving the needle there, being that first person to learn, hey, this is how we use social media, this is how we use Sprout. And just being that person that young, I won't even say younger, I'll say that I wasn't even a recent college graduate at that time, wanting to do more or wanting to say, hey, I'll do it, and step up to the plate, if you will. And like I said, I came from a temp agency and the team was smaller at the time. And I just wanted to learn more, do more, and be the first person to step up to the plate.
So is
And
it
that
kind of a
temp job
case of,
turns to a long-term job.
yeah. Did you, was it a case where the temp agency was like, hey, the NAACP reached out to us and we need to provide a worker for them? Was that
Yep.
pretty much it?
Yep.
Right.
And
And that's one thing, especially if you're someone, in college now or just graduating, and we can give you a million pieces of advice on how to crush your career, but there's a lot of luck involved in getting into cool places. In 2018, I had
Yeah.
the fortune to work for the National Football League for a year. That's a place there's, millions of people that would love to get the chance to work there. And, I could say that I spent years grinding away, or I could say that I had connections or did everything possible to get my foot in the door. And the reality was one day I was just chilling at home and my boss for the consulting company I worked for said, oh, hey, you're going to start working at the NFL tomorrow. And I said, all right, cool. That's just the reality of life. You got to work hard, but sometimes some of your coolest things come just from very lucky breaks. And that was a really fun job. What are you most proud of that you accomplished while you were there?
I'm most proud of that I got a chance to work with the Image Awards actually, because it got a chance for me to not only combine my passion for advocacy, but it also got a chance for me to combine my love for entertainment. But I actually got a chance to do both, right? I got a chance to say, hey, these are the pieces with voting rights, but also these are the pieces with entertainment, and combine both of those things. So I got a chance to say, hey, this is everything that I learned in entertainment, but also this is everything that I learned from the advocacy side, and blend both of those worlds together.
Mm-hmm. Stepping back a bit, for those who aren't familiar with what the NAACP is or what the Image Awards are, could you just explain what the significance of those are?
Yeah, so with the Image Awards, NAACP Image Awards is one of the largest.
So what is
Um,
what is the NAACP for those who don't know?
Yeah, so that is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. NAACP has been around since 1909. They handle advocacy work, they handle mission-driven work, and they handle a wide variety of things for colored people. That could be regional, that could be local, that could be national. And I'm a local person. I just used to work there, so I'm just going to get that clear. But you can definitely check out their website. And then for their Image Awards, which should be coming up soon at the end of the month, don't want to misspeak, but it should be at the end of this month, they celebrate excellence. So that could be art, literature, culture, and just different things of that nature.
So did you get to go to the Image Awards when you were working there?
Yeah, so they actually do both. So we got to plan those things. We got to do the red carpet. We got to help the national president do their speeches, do the red carpet, and different things of that nature. So any of the work that I got to plan would be press releases, media alerts, helping wrangle talent for that event, helping wrangle the national president to do press, media, the red carpet room, and different things like that.
Yeah. Where are those awards show? Where's the awards held?
That was in Pasadena at the time when I was on the team.
Any dope celebrity meetings?
Donnie Glover, I got a chance to meet. Wow, I got a chance to meet a lot of people. Laura Divine. I got a chance to meet a lot of really great people when I was on the
Spill
team.
some tea. Spill some tea.
I wish I had good tea. I don't have any good tea.
Then why are
I
you on
don't
the
have,
podcast? Come
I
on.
don't, I don't have any good tea for you, Drew.
So you were there a few years. Do you kind of wish it had gone longer, or was it just sort of your role there? You realized you kind of really wanted to do your own thing at that point.
I realized that I wanted to do my own thing because then I was able to kind of work with a young lady by the name of Crystal Garner. She was on a show on BET with T.I. At the time. So T.I., the rapper, of course, he had a show on BET. She won his show on BET, so I was able to then work with the BET Awards. And that was kind of also happening simultaneously with NAACP Image Awards. I had another client who was also on BET. So at the time, both of those things were kind of happening. So I'm working, but then I'm also working for like BET Awards. I'm running gold red carpets, taking clients there. And simultaneously, just a lot of the things were happening for me personally. So I'm running and being carpets for both, and kind of taking clients to more award shows for
Yeah.
my personal
And
work.
how was having your own agency different than being an employee? What was the most surprising thing about that?
Because now I'm the big boss, right? Now I'm the person that's behind the scenes, pulling the strings and being that go-to person and that expert and that thought leader.
What was harder about it than you ever imagined?
I gotta have to be the person that's slow and higher and quick to fire, and everything's on me.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So based on what you've learned so far in your career, if someone kind of wanted to get a job in the PR space, someone, about to graduate college or whatever, what advice would you have for them?
Writing is extremely important. I know that we have these amazing tools called Chat GPT and Claude and different things of that nature, but perfect your writing. Like that's still so important. It's still a fundamental key of the work that we do in this space. It's extremely important. Relationships are super, super important. Everything that I've done in this industry has still been foundationally set relationship wise. And journalists, like I still pick up the phone and call journalists. My business partner is dynamic. We've built this thing from the ground up and just being respectful to each other and being respectful to our peers. So I think those things are still important. Writing, researching, those things are still important in the PR school.
Yeah. If someone was considering a PR career right now, looking to break into that industry, and they said, what are some red flags they might say to you that you would say, don't?
Um, hmm. It would definitely don't pay. Don't pay for placements. I see people still doing that. Someone posted about that earlier on Threads. People are
Yeah.
like paying for like to fast track press. Like, don't do that because that's illegal. You should not be doing that at all. Um, hmm, what else? I think don't pay for don't pay for. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So as you kind of look back at how your career has gone since college, kind of the highs and the lows, what have you been proudest of, and what's kind of been something that has happened since graduating college that you wish might have been a little different, gone a little
Yeah.
differently?
Yeah, I think I'll start with what I wish may have gone differently. I definitely wish that, one, I think I'll say everything has gone the way it has supposed to, because all of it has been amazing lessons, right? But cause they haven't been losses, they've been lessons, and I do love that. But maybe would have gone differently. I would have loved to live in LA longer because I do still think LA is a great springboard for careers such as this. Careers such as this. But
What if
what I
someone said, LA is too competitive. Like I can't make it there. It's too much. It's too tough to get my foot in the door there.
I think Nike is a concern about Reebok, right? Like I think those are all shoes. Like I don't believe they're too competitive. I think competitive nature is the source of like what we all do. Like I'm not really worried about that. Like I think we all have to keep going, and that's what makes us great. I think that's what makes us great.
And if it was someone that, if you look back on your career, where do you think you might have, especially in terms of landing the next great job or whatever, what might have been a challenge at getting that, and what do you think you were good at in job searching so far at this point in your career?
I think what I have been good at is it's still back to that relationship piece, and showing the work that I've done, like the trajectory of my career. Like it's still back to building those foundational relationships, showing who I am, what I do, why it's important. Because people buy into important things, who they know, who they like, who they trust, and who they remember. And I think that that's still important in the job space. Being rememberable, standing out, and showing the work that you do.
Have you ever gotten jobs just from like coldly applying, or has it almost always been from people you knew or people who knew of you?
It's always been from who I know. It's really never been from like cold applying. And I do want to change that though. I do want to change that.
And so if someone's sitting at home saying, I don't know anyone, what's the best way to try to get to know people that can help your career?
I think the best way to do that is to phone a friend. Phone a friend. Like, pick up the phone. Hey, who do you know? I think we are our biggest network, right? Like, I think you should ask people. I think you should do what we did, right? I think we got to know each other and we didn't know each other before. I posted something on Threads and said, hey, I'm looking for this. You never know until you ask. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. Like, you and I literally didn't know each other until I posted on Threads and said, hey, I'm looking for a job. I don't know what I'm doing. You have not some time until you ask them.
Yeah, and so I really was drawn to that you posted last week, just sort of where you were looking for, VP, Director of Communications roles or whatever. Have you seen people have other success just kind of by, manifesting it, putting it out into the universe, putting it out on social media, and then, amazing things happening?
Yes, because sometimes all you have to do is have hope, right? Like when I posted that on Threads, like I literally was at my wit's end. And like I said, it has been a slow season. I've had amazing seasons in my career, myself and my business partner, but we've also had some not so great seasons. And right now I'm kind of in this not so great season. I could run down a list of amazing clientele that I've had, but business ebbs and flows, right? Like it had those ups and downs. It had those not so great seasons. And right now I'm in one and I'm not afraid to say that. So it was time to make that post to say, hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing. But let me see who does and let me see who can help, even if I don't know them.
I never know what I'm doing, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Did that feel like an admission of defeat in any sense?
A little bit. And it was time to feel that. I think it was. But I think it was time to check that ego and say, hey, I'm defeated. And I thought.
And, you made that post and it got like 80 likes right away or something. What were you surprised by that reaction, by how much support people were showing you when you made that announcement on Threads? That, hey, I'm looking for a job. People know you as an entrepreneur, and now you're saying, I'm looking for this specific type of job. Did it feel risky to do?
It did. It did. I talked to my mom about this a lot because I'm an only child. And sometimes she says, hey, you have to check that ego. So Mom, I checked my ego and I did make a post about me.
Yeah. Do you worry how that announcing that and might affect like your chances at entrepreneurial success in the future? Do you feel like you're having to balance two plates now, being an employee but also an entrepreneur?
Yes, a lot of times I do, because sometimes I feel like people don't hire you because you're an entrepreneur. Sometimes they may say, oh, I've seen you done all of this work, what makes you gonna come back in-house, right? Like You found all of the success. You got XYZ. Why are you here?
Yeah. And why do you think that hiring managers and companies don't they have their own business? Why do they think they kind of give you the stink eye when you're an entrepreneur? Applying. By the way, entrepreneur is like the stupidest word. It's just an awkward word to say. We need a better word there. Business owner. That's at least flows out of the mouth. Why do you think they kind of don't like when business owners apply for jobs?
I think they feel like we're going to leave. I think they feel like we can't help them. I think they feel like they probably feel. I think the kids say now it gets in the head. I think it's like it gets in the head because like, we won't stay long. We need help. I said this in an interview last week of entrepreneurs or business owners. We have to build so quickly and so fast with limited resources. So they feel like because in the corporate space, they have a slower time to build with so much more that we can't contribute to what they have going on.
And so if you're advising another entrepreneur who's job searching right now, what advice would you give them, especially how to overcome those hurdles that might be put in front of their way that another job seeker doesn't have to face?
I think you have to show them your heart. I think you have to show them what you have brought to the table. Show them your best self, show them your resilience, and show them the commitment. And show them how quickly you have had to deal with the resources.
Mm. How does applying and interviewing for a job, how is it similar or different versus like trying to land a client for your own business?
Ooh, I think clients trust you as the expert. You are the expert. You are the thought leader when you're getting the clients. I think when you are applying for jobs, they see you as a person on a team. Sometimes you are not the expert there, but you're a team member. And you have to figure out how to position yourself as a team member. You're not necessarily the expert. You have to fit into a team.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a little bit different.
Do you think that'll be a little bit difficult for you, if you head into a more traditional job versus having been on your own for several years?
Yes.
Are you preparing for how you'll be able to do that?
I am so worried, Drew, but I think that I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to try my best to figure it out.
What's the strategy? What's the strategy to do that?
I'm trying to read. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to take all the advice that I can. So if you have any advice, Drew, please give it all.
I charge extra for that. I guess I would say, what is something that you've seen your friends or mentors or anything when they've job searched? What's kind of lessons you've learned and seen from other people's job searching that's either rubbed off on you positively or negatively?
Lessons that I've learned from them is be a sponge, right? Like be a fun consultant mentors. Use LinkedIn. I've definitely saw my mentors use LinkedIn. Some people are saying that it doesn't work, but I've seen it work. I've had no quarrels with it.
No, I mean the people, and they're on Threads, and I really wish Threads would just get the annoying people out of there. They're like, LinkedIn's a waste of time. LinkedIn doesn't work. I'm like, do you know how to use it? Like,
yeah,
I get at least one interview a week just from emailing strangers on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've had no quarrels with it. No problem at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just people that think like magically they'll log on and, land a job in 2 minutes. Nope, but like, perfect example. Last week, this guy wrote a really heartfelt status update on LinkedIn, and I just sent him an email like, I really loved your honesty there. And then we had an amazing back and forth email chain. He's going to send my resume to other people, other leaders in the industry, like all because I saw something on LinkedIn and took action, So people who say it's terrible, it's like, well, you're probably just like not actually trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what is, I guess I would say, what's something like if you had to look back, what's been the hardest part of having to change from sort of an acquiring client mindset to an acquiring job mindset? And how did you find the way to overcome those frustrations?
The acquiring job mindset is trying to figure out how to compartmentalize all of my experience and figure out if I approach it as, have I done this as a consultant, and actually push this to say, have I done this as a consultant? And if I'm saying, hey, this is Regan the CEO, or is this Regan the consultant? Because sometimes if I'm saying, hey, this is Regan the CEO, are people going to approach this to say she's going to leave in a bit? Or is it just Regan the consultant who's freelancing?
By the way, are these your consultant classes or your CEO classes?
These are my Regan consulting classes.
Got it. I'm looking forward to seeing the CEO classes.
Yeah.
And do you think it's kind of hard to switch back and forth that way, or does it kind of come fairly naturally to you?
It comes fairly natural because sometimes I think people can kind of blur those lines, if you will. So sometimes I just have to dial it back sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing you mentioned to me is, you know, especially as the having your own agency, people see you as an expert. And, you know, I really want this show to serve as something for, you know, a guidebook for current college students. Number one, you know, I think a lot of them, you know, they just go into interviews and they feel like, you know, no one's going to take me seriously. Like, I'm just 20. These are people who have decades of experience. You know, we're obviously not experts when we're 19, 20, 21. So what do you think was the key to you early in the career being successful, landing opportunities, when you didn't have the years of experience to get your foot in the door?
It's so interesting because when I was in college, I'm not going to say that I always knew what I wanted to do, but I was stubborn in a sense. And this is not good, kids, so don't listen to me when it comes to this. Listen to me, you know. I knew three things about communication. I knew I wanted to live in LA. I knew I wanted to work in communications. I knew I wanted to work in entertainment. So I would always tell my mentors this. I told my mentors those three things. And I was able to do those three things, but not in the way that I planned it to or planned to. And I would always repeat those things relentlessly, right? Like, I had a mentor. She worked in the PR department at my alma mater. And I just had that, I guess, that don't quit spirit. So I'd say have that don't quit spirit, use that relentlessly. And I think people will see that in you sometimes, right? Like, they'll see that in you and they'll want to support it. I think sometimes that matters more than anything. Sometimes, right? Like, doesn't always get you there, but if you have that don't quit spirit and you have that spirit of relentlessness and not wanting to give up, I think sometimes people support that.
Mm-hmm. How, you know, would you advise someone sophomore or junior year of college, how do you advise them to be able to discover a mentor, and why is it important to have a mentor in terms of achieving career success?
Because that person guides you, that person helps you, that person supports you. Like I said, I had someone who was in the PR department. I had someone who I saw myself in. She was in the PR department. She actually was our PR director for the university overall. And that's kind of how I got my first taste of going to LA. So I was her intern. I actually knew that I wanted to work in publicity. I interned for her, and I'm chipping away at writing a press release, and she goes, hey, Regan, I want to send you to live in California. Call your mother. You'll intern in California this summer of your senior year. And I got to work for Kevin Frazier, who is the host of Entertainment Tonight. And that was my first LA experience. And yeah, I think when people see that...
You're going to have a lot of people jealous of you, like Entertainment Tonight, E-Network, NAACP, like you have some like magic fairy dust or something?
No, but when people see that you're on this certain trajectory, and I think, and that's not to sound braggadocious, but I think when people see that you're on a certain path, and I don't know, I won't say that I was the valedictorian or anything like that, but I think when people see that, one, you're on a certain path, two, you have a don't quit spirit, and three, they see that you're relentless, sometimes they're just willing to help too. So that's a relationship.
Did did that relentlessness come naturally to you, or did it develop as you gain more success?
I've never been scared. I've never been a student that was scared. I've always been vocal. I've always been a vocal person. Hey, like just like that great post, I've always been that person.
What do you say to someone that might not feel comfortable being that? I'm sure you have friends that don't. You know they're amazing, but they're not great at selling themselves.
Yeah, no, I definitely have friends who are like that. I think it also depends on industry too, right? Like I think if you're in a communications PR space, you have to be that way. But if you're not like that, I think it depends on industry for sure. But if you're not like that, I think that's a great question. If you're not like that.
Have you seen any of your friends blossom since from when they graduated college to where they are now? Become more confident, that sort of thing?
For sure. I've definitely seen it grow, but I do think it can grow. I think it does take practice. I think it does take pouring into yourself. I think maybe there are also books you could read, things you could do. It takes maybe asking a friend, what did you do to get there? Yeah. Pouring into your community.
When you look at yourself as a job seeker, what do you think you do really well in terms of trying to land a job, and what's something that you know or feel that you could be doing better to, improve your chances of landing a position?
I research very well. So if I see a job, I definitely I'll say, hey, where did this post come from? Who posted it? So on and so forth. I don't change my resume as often as I should every single time. I know folks change their resume per post. I don't do that as often. Some folks are like, hey, let me frame my resume to each job description. I don't do that as much.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the importance is of doing that research in the middle of the job search? Because that's something I haven't heard that word used. I've had over a dozen shows now, and I've never heard someone say, well, I do research during the search. So could you talk about why you think that's important and what makes you effective at it?
Yeah, I think what makes me effective at that is because I'm researching journalists for stories every single time, right? So it's nothing for me to say, let me see the talent agent, or let me go try to find the talent agent who posted this, or let me find that person on LinkedIn, or let me try to find the backlog of where this was posted. So I'm definitely researching, that side of things. But maybe when it comes to changing my resume each time, I'm not doing that as well. So yeah.
I'll be your mom. Why not?
I know.
Didn't I raise you better?
So much work. It's like, whew.
Yeah, it is wild, that expectation and I get why you should do it, but it's like,
true.
We all put in so much work to make this resume great, and now you want us to change it every single time?
Every single time.
That's crazy talk.
It's so much work.
I guess, one thing, if you kind of look back at yourself and earlier in your career, what do you think you did well during interviewing? What do you think you've gotten better at? What's something when doing interviews, you think you'd like to improve at? Because I think a lot of people, it's like they get so pumped to land an interview and that's just like the coach telling the baseball player, all right, you got to go to bat. You didn't win, you didn't hit a home run. All you got is a chance. So yeah, could you talk about what your kind of interviewing and experience has been over time?
As much as I love to talk, I still get nervous during interviews, and I don't know why.
Let's stop. Why do you get nervous? I mean, clearly talking is not a challenge for you. I'm sure.
Because we're finally here, and I gotta talk about myself. I gotta tell you everything that I've done. I'm nervous now.
My number one takeaway from this show so far is people are atrocious at bragging about their accomplishments. That is the consistent thread line I've seen over these episodes. So why is that? Well, think about yourself specifically. Why when you can talk so confidently about other things, you're with yourself all day. Shouldn't you be able to talk about that?
It's like word vomit. Like literally, I had an interview last week and it was like, oh my God, I have to talk about myself. Yeah, I don't know. I still get nervous, really nervous too. So
Have you
that's what I
done
was saying.
things to try to calm those nerves beforehand?
No. And now that we're talking about it, I 1,000% should do things to calm those nerves before.
What do you think might be helpful to do that?
Breathing exercises. Um, oh, but definitely something for sure. It's like you're in that moment. It's quick. Everything's riding on the line. It's a lot. Pressure.
What's your biggest fear when you're sitting at an interview?
Am I going to get this job? Are they going to like me? All of those things.
Do you think is it necessary to be liked in an interview? Is that you think? I don't know. I mean, not being facetious. Like, what does it mean to be liked in an interview, and how important is it?
In this juncture, like especially with the trajectory of like, I guess what I'll say is like the trajectory of like, or in this climate of needing a job. Yeah, I think it's important. For sure.
Are you usually your authentic self in interviews, or do you feel like
All the time, I try to be by myself. I try to be this person that you see, for sure. But no,
is that challenging at times? Like, do you feel a need to at times be a different character, play a character that you think they want to hear?
no. I'm always myself, 1,000%.
That's so Regan. In other words, you're saying you're just being you. Um, One thing I would say then is, what do you think? What are kind of some signs when you're interviewing that it's going well during the interview, and versus then? Yeah, so I'll ask that first. What do you think are some signs?
Like the head nod. The head nod. The head nod can take it either way. When I go through the head nod, I feel like it's a. I don't know. I feel like the head nod is like a yes or no.
Yeah. Have you ever been in an experience where, you found them like really not liking you, and you were able to like, pull off the last second Hail Mary and get them on your side? How did you recover an interview? I think a lot of people, once they sense an interview's not going well, they just spiral, shut down, stop making sense, start sounding as dumb as me. So how were you able to turn that around?
Through my big picture thinking. So, of course, with communication, we get a lot of interviews where it's like, tell us about yourself, but then also give us your strategy, right? How do you do that? So, a lot of my interviews more so turn into, hey, give us this, but then give us your thought process behind the work that you do. So sometimes that'll kind of give them that final yes to say, hey, we like you a little bit more.
Do you have one memory of like the interview in your life you enjoyed the most?
Yeah, maybe it was my first job interview out of college. I'll say that. That was probably one of my best job experiences, but then that was probably also one of my favorite interviews. Then it's fun.
What made it so good? What keeps that stuck in your head all these years later?
It keeps it stuck because it was warm and inviting. One of the most warm and inviting interviews that I've ever had. Because it was comfortable, right? Like it was familiar, and it didn't make me feel nervous. It just made it feel familiar.
Mm-hmm. And on the other side of the coin, do you have any interviewing horror stories?
One that I completely bombed. Word vomit all around. It just felt like bringing the expert. Normally I can go into an interview and I'm like, yeah, that's me. This is my this is what I do. Word vomit completely around. I didn't feel like me. I didn't feel like I knew what I was talking about. Yeah, I had a recent one like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of stand-up comics talk about that, about bombing or whatever. What do you think was going on? Did you over-prepare, under-prepare? What do you think led to that?
I think I over prepared. Just everything right on the line. Over preparing. trying to not only study the company, but I'm like, hey, this is a big deal. Yeah, all of those things, everything, all of it.
So what's, for someone especially maybe, fresh out of college, what's the right amount of what is under preparation, what's the right amount, and what's too much?
I think we need 50-50. I think that one, know that you're you and that's your superpower, right? And I think that's cliche. But show that your best self. Um, the best part of it is to be you authentically. But you also want to learn about the company as much as you can. But
Hmm.
if they're going to like you, they're going to like you regardless. And I just heard of something called the burnt toast theory. If you don't get it, making yourself so safe you need to stop. We also got to realize that too. Burnt toast
Hmm.
theory, 50, 50.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing to, keep in mind, especially if you're early in your career. Like, some of the most basic, like 5-minute interviews have led to like super high paying jobs for me. I don't think there's like some of the most drag out, exhausting, and then they like 5 minutes after they're done, no, we're not interested. So like that's the most confusing thing about interviewing. There is no real connection between like what it feels like and what the outcome is going to be. Would you say you're pretty good at knowing at the end of an interview, like if you're going to get an offer or not, or do you kind of not
No, I can't
shrug your
gauge
shoulders?
it. No, I can't gauge it. I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not good at reading that.
What do if there's something, moving forward in your career, either now or if you're job searching again 5, 10 years, what is something that you'd like to continue to improve on while interviewing?
Definitely the nervous part. Not, I would never say that before, but as I'm starting to go back into workforce since it's been a while, I definitely want to work on my nerves. And maybe that's just because I haven't interviewed in so long. So the more that I do it, the more it'll become repetition.
Hmm. When you're, looking for a job, what is something where even if the money's great or whatever, you would ultimately turn it down because you wouldn't be happy? What are those sort of signs that, and I think for as people that are, financially struggling, the thought of turning down a job is really, really painful and difficult. But what is something that even if, that electric bill is due, you
Yeah.
still wouldn't take
Yeah.
that job?
Yeah, it definitely has to be a fit, cultural fit, meaning they're good with their employees. Maybe it's something where we can work remote, because I do think that that's important. I can't tell you the last time I've been in an office. Definitely somewhere where quality of life is good, work-life balance. Those are the things that are important to me. So yeah, it would definitely have to be all of those things and check those boxes for me.
Every company says when you're interviewing for a job, oh, there's great growth opportunity here. People love it here. We're a fan. We all get along great. What What is the key to having a good BS detector when you're doing that?
I go on Glassdoor. I'm going on Glassdoor. I am looking at reviews. I am back to that research again, Drew. Like I'm going on TikTok. I'm going on all of those things to see what people are really talking about because those things are important to me, right? Like I look at everything.
Hmm. Could you talk about the use of those extra tools in the job search of not just applying but what are tools like AI, like TikTok, like Glassdoor? Could you talk about how those have been helpful for you both in learning and also in becoming a better candidate? Have you used AI in this current job search?
I definitely have because I think that's what helps. That's what helps you what people aren't saying. Like that's what shows what people aren't saying, right? Like 'cause when you get into the interview, everyone's going to say, "Oh, my company's the best. We do this, we do this,
Yeah.
we do that." But that's what tells you what people are not saying, right? Like no one's going to say, "Oh yeah, well we don't have a good work-life balance." But when you want to scour the internet deeply and pull everything together, those AI tools are going to do that. TikTok's going to tell you when a disgruntled employee did something or, so on and so forth. So those tools are important to definitely use or, see that PR crisis. So I want to see everything before I sign on to that if I'm for sure.
And, what is something where you might be willing to put in the extra mile, put extra effort to get an interview with a company? Like, what are those things where you're like, I'll do whatever it takes to get an interview with them? What is that special sauce that makes you really want to work for a company?
Sometimes quality campaigns are good to me. Like I'm a visual learner, right? So like if they have a cool campaign, if they have good work-life balance, if I have a friend who's an employee and they go, oh, I love working here, right? That third-party validation. All of those things are really good to me because those are important. Back to that whole PR notion, right? Like PR is what people say. So if someone else can validate it sometimes, then that isn't the end all be all. But those things are kind of helpful to push it over the line.
Yeah. One thing I think that is not talked enough about is that to some extent, whenever you start a new job, you should immediately begin thinking about what my next job is going to be.
Yes.
I had one guest recently talked about she probably got too complacent in her most recent job, and that kind of left her without the right skills to be competitive in the next search. So, for someone, especially in the PR comm space, once they get that first job, what should they be doing to go above and beyond so that they're more marketable and more hireable for that next level? I think it's so easy to get complacent when that paycheck's rolling in every 2 weeks.
Definitely for me, I'm always going to be working on my skill set. I'm always going to be working on certification, different things of that nature. I'm always going to be working on certifications and different things like that.
Does that do you feel like that helps you get those better interviews and whatnot? Or do you think companies really notice that?
I think so. I think it helps push it over the edge a little bit for sure. Definitely reading the news cycle or staying engaged with the news cycle, if you will. Working on the various elements for campaigns and just kind of staying relevant.
Yeah. So since I know you just love bragging about your accomplishments so much, I'm going to put you on the hot seat now. Like I said, the final question I always ask, if I'm the hiring manager of your dream job and it's you and two other great candidates, what do you do better than 90% of candidates? What's going to set you apart from these other really good candidates? Imagine it's your dream job, Give me that closing pitch.
Regan is relentless. You will never find a better candidate than her. She does not love talking about herself as much. However, you won't find another team player who can kind of stay committed to the work. She's an entrepreneur, so not only will she bring those fast growing skills, but she will build quickly and all of those things. So Regan's relentless, committed to the work, and that's what she is.
What's your most impressive example of being relentless?
She's had to build a company since 2022, a small company with another young lady, and build it very fast, quickly, with limited resources, and not give up. So that's really important.
And how were you able to be successful? How were you able to keep being relentless and not giving up?
Yeah. So from working with the NAACP, working there, then becoming a client, not just locally, but nationally, but then also becoming a client regionally. So through their Virginia State Conference, their North Carolina State Conference, and then also taking their national president and working with them through Harvard University through their Kennedy School. So not giving up and those capacity. So, being relentless.
Well, thanks. Is there anything else you want to just anything you didn't share yet? Anything you want to talk about in terms of job search and career? Or any wisdom you have to share?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm so thankful that you put that announcement out, and I was able to see it on Threads. And I think it's just every new data source is going to be helpful. I want job seekers to listen to this show, hear something that inspires them, hear some wisdom, that's something that helps them along in the search. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Bye.